The 9 to 5 grind is killing us. I was going to start out this video on how the 9 to 5 is a scam, and after research realized the 9 to 5 is actually killing us. I want to make happy, positive videos, as I'm generally a positive and upbeat person. But in order to make changes, we need to be angry. Angry at the status quo, angry at the way we're treated daily like we're some expendable human resource. I say F that nonsense. We're people. We are going to celebrate the wins as they come, with more subscribers, when we launch our platform, have discussions, purchase land, and start building the tiny homes. And we are both looking forward to that. But today we are going to discuss the topic that has been gaining a lot of attention, really ever since the worldwide shutdowns. And that topic is the 9 to 5 grind on our mental and physical health. When you picture the American dream, what visions do you have? It's likely a house, a family, a pet dog, running, playing, smiles. Those visions are definitely not of laboring 9 to 5. I love the phrase, I do not dream of labor. According to a CBS News report, 7.2 million American men of prime working age between 25 and 54 years old are not working or even looking for work. Compare that to 1953, 98% of men in that age range had a job or were looking for one. Shore and I are both programmers. We make websites, web apps. We can do both front end and back end. We can connect to databases and even able to run our websites on AWS, which, according to Indeed, looks like those skills would be in high demand. Shore is amazing with graphic design and business branding. We even edit images, make videos, and record and edit audio. All of this on top of other skills and a long history of previous and continuous work experience, meaning no major gaps in work. But we're overlooked because we don't have bachelor's degrees, even though we know more than our friends who went to school for programming and got those pieces of paper. Shore had only 2 interviews and 1 almost interview for tech jobs after her countless applications. The way the job market is set up currently is telling people like us that we aren't even remotely going to be considered for employment, no matter our knowledge, practical experience, or how great our portfolios may look. So it's no surprise to the 2 of us that people are dropping out of the game altogether. Carla Trotman, CEO of Electrosoft, actually is the only one in the article to get it right. So definitely go read that article, link in the description. She is quoted as saying, I think it's fulfillment, I think it's culture, I think people really want to feel as though they are appreciated, end quote. A survey by the American Psychological Association found that work is the 3rd most common source of stress for Americans after money and health. Yes, after you've resolved your financial struggles and you have no major physical ailments or injuries, the work environment is the next major source of stress. Research published in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology found that working long hours is associated with an increased risk of depression, anxiety, disease, and illness, and injuries due to lack of sleep. Another study found that workplace stress is linked to health problems such as cardiovascular disease, musculoskeletal disorders, and psychological disorders. And a study by the World Health Organization found that depression and anxiety cost the global economy $1 trillion each year, predominantly from reduced productivity. And yet another study found that people who work long hours are more likely to engage in unhealthy behaviors such as drinking and smoking. The WHO has this to say: more than half the world's population are currently in work, and 15% of working age adults live with a mental disorder. 15%! They continue, mental health conditions can affect a person's confidence and identity at work, capacity to work productively, absences, and the ease with which to retain or gain work. 12 billion working days are lost every year to depression and anxiety alone. Furthermore, people living with severe mental health conditions are largely excluded from work despite this being important for recovery. Mental health conditions can also impact families, careers, colleagues, communities, and society at large. Depression and anxiety cost the global economy $1 trillion each year, predominantly from reduced productivity. And get this, a study by the University of California found that the average office worker is interrupted every 11 minutes. And a second study from the University of Manchester found that the average worker is productive for only 3 hours per day. Shore told me a good story the other day. She worked in a skyscraper at one point and would be asked frequently by the building's visitors what floor they were on, or trying to get help to get to a place that they didn't even remember the name of. She said this would happen all the time. A Gallup survey found that only 13% of workers worldwide are engaged in their jobs, meaning they are only there to do what it takes to collect a paycheck. How could you even be engaged, much less go into the flow state we all desire to be in, that makes time fly and make our souls happy and make us feel like we're living when we're constantly distracted? All those alerts from Microsoft Teams, Slack chats, emails, phone calls, and Zoom meetings. And lastly, as if this isn't obvious, the Society for Human Resource Management found that employees who are satisfied with their work-life balance are more likely to stay with their current employer. And they are quoted as saying, ultimately, work-life fulfillment comes from having the ability to flex work hours and locations, so it's possible to spend time with family, friends, and personal pursuits, as well as work. No kidding. And conversely to that, in order to get fair market pay increases, we need the job hop. You know, what's more important to you and your family in the long run? Work-life balance, or being able to be more financially stable and be more able to afford to raise children and pay for the ever-increasing costs of higher education, such as college tuition, medical expenses, food, housing, etc.? Childcare alone costs more than the yearly salary at the federal minimum wage at full-time 40-hour work weeks. After, of course, the government takes its cut. Some quick math here, that comes out to $12,064. There's a chart here that shows the cost of childcare by state. We can't really blame companies though. It's more the game they have to play. You know, the only thing that companies care about is profit, which is its purpose. They want the cheapest labor possible. If they could pay you less, they would. If they can keep you at the current salary and give you more work, they will. The only reward for hard work is more work. This is why we need unions and government protections for workers to balance the scales. A company solely exists to extract more resources from the workforce and customers than it puts in. And I'm sure you noticed that the products even continue to keep getting worse. Not only are things more expensive, but they are created to not last as long. And all of this starts when we're children. As children, we are indoctrinated that this is not only normal, but a good thing. As soon as possible, we are taught and trained to be good, obedient, quiet, and compliant employees, waking up to alarms, bells and whistles to take us from scheduled class to scheduled class, given assignments with tight deadlines, provided progress reports and regular review meetings, taught just enough surface level U.S. history and world geography to be forgotten, and feel like only the U.S. exists and is number one in innovation, freedom, opportunities, godliness, or holiness. You even see adults in the workplace being infantilized and treated like children, playing unnecessary team building exercises, being forced back into the office to race in office chairs because they don't trust people to work without being micromanaged. Watch this clip from Joshua Fluke's channel. This is so dangerous and a slip away from falling backwards and cracking their skulls open.
If you go on LinkedIn and look at some of these companies that are posting videos of bringing their employees back to the office, they are so tone deaf. Here's an example of what I mean. Yesterday, Seats and Stations hosted a fun-filled happy hour at HGA Sacramento office. Our employees participated in a thrilling chair race with a chance to win exciting prizes. As we plan to return to the office 3 days a week, such events are crucial to maintaining a healthy company. This is what they had to commute to the office for. Do you think these people would prefer to be playing with coworkers or with their families and children? I'm guessing the latter. Hashtag company culture, hashtag return to office, hashtag downtown business, hashtag team building. This isn't how you do it. This isn't how you return to the office.
And it's not just childhood indoctrination. There's adult indoctrination. Once we're old enough to legally work, we are thrown into the grinder. Off to the races, working to get our own living space, work for a car, work for a television and Netflix subscription, work for car maintenance and insurance, work for fast food because you don't have the time or energy to cook for yourself. We have expenses like laptops, cell phones, even job interview clothes that we can't afford to pay off right away in cash, so we begin to use credit because companies don't want to pay a living wage and you were just over broke paycheck to paycheck. One major expense away from losing everything. Now it's work to keep from losing all the things you need to keep your job and to keep yourself sane, just enough to continue suffering through the grind. And then what if you even become successful? From there it's work to maintain and upgrade your lifestyle and standard of living. level of wealth, comfort, material goods, and necessities available to a certain socioeconomic class or geographic area. The standard of living includes not just income and employment, but also the quality and availability of housing, healthcare, education, and environmental factors that contribute to the quality of life. And with success, you can now save up for vacations from the job. You can save up for a college fund to give to your child for a leg up. They'll still have to work, but they can now start off making more money, have a nicer house and a nicer car than you did when you started out. More income leads to being able to borrow more money from creditors, which means even more debts. They get more nice things earlier, which is winning in our society. Instead of a focus on intrinsic values, personal growth, relaxation, spending time with family, creating a better machine, developments in science, how many doctors, nurses, or hell, even Einsteins do we lose out on that have no chance to pursue their passions because they need to work 9 to 5 to support their families? Although, a quick Google search shows patent clerks make a killing. After you finish raising your kids, it's back to your story. Now that the children are out of the house, you can refocus on yourself, contributing more money into your 401k, stocks, to one day hopefully retire from your job. Pensions are rare, so hopefully your investments will support you long enough before you die. Here's a challenge. Ask an adult what they do outside of work in their free time and what they're passionate about or what their hobbies are. I often get, what free time? Or, I don't know. And I also get, I don't know, for what they're passionate about or hobbies they like to pursue. I myself used to think that retirement meant TV shows, movies, video games, and junk food. And then go ask children what they are passionate about and what they want to do in life. They want to ride dinosaurs. They want to be astronauts and scientists. They love learning new things, like learning to ice skate. They want to be doctors. They want to be inventors. The traditional work week is based on outdated assumptions and concepts about productivity and the nature of work. You might argue, but what if no one worked? How could we afford to build and maintain roads, pay for the educational system, and why would people even work at all? The answer is simple, because people want stuff. We'd just be working with the focus on ourselves and supporting one another rather than being a tool that solely supports faceless management and shareholders. There have been people who try to fill potholes in their local roads and get in trouble for doing so. 2 men, one in Canada and the other in Italy, who got tired of the lack of action from their local governments to simply fill potholes, decided to do it themselves. I'm going to mispronounce the name, but it's DeFazio in Canada, said that the pothole popped his tire 3 weeks before fixing it himself. Both these guys ended up facing fines. As a cafe owner said to me the other day, if more companies provided work from home arrangements, there would be a lot less need for middle management. With your help, we can begin to end the cycle. You need a job to get a car and a place to live, so they make us start when we're still children. We work for first and last month's rent, the deposit, the application fees, go into debt for a college degree that we don't need, only to end up using Excel, doing a job that takes a couple of weeks at most to learn. So the more we can push back, the better, because we're burning out. Life is short, and no one will remember us after a couple generations. Make the most of your time here. It's up to us to create and provide the meaning to our lives. We need to create alternatives so we have the option to walk away from toxic and law-breaking workplaces. We need to unionize to keep wages competitive and overtime restricted. We need to fight to keep humanity in mind at these companies and in our society. Just allow a cashier a stool to sit on while they work if they need it. The day quickly comes when your youth is gone. You're not physically able to go on adventures. We should be able to pursue our hobbies and discover our passions while we're young and capable. In the end, all we need is food, shelter, and healthcare. When you look into it, shelter you could have built for a few $100s. Food you could have grown yourself. Medicine that our tax money could go to. We're fucking sick of it too. There are ways out. Join together with your friends, with groups of like-minded people. Share with others that there's more to life than developing marketable skills. Improve and invest in yourself and encourage others. Begin to downsize your life and your needs. Because we know you're tired of being tired of work thinking they can call on our days off because one person called out. Join us in our mission and our growing project by subscribing to our channel. And once we launch our own platform, to join that so we can hold discussions and actually begin to make changes.